Well, well. 4Motion. Arteon. 4Matic. C300. How in the world did these two cars end up in front of me and now in front of you on this blustery late fall afternoon, morning, whatever? Hell, I don't know what time it is. I'm going to compare these two cars because I find them extremely interesting. And they're both very, very similar in a lot of ways. And yet, vive la différence. Stay with us.
1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat. And 15 minutes ago, you knew that people were alone on this planet. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
So, ladies and gentlemen, in this corner, if you choose to call it a corner, even though it's a yard, we have the 2022 Volkswagen Arteon SEL Premium R-Line 4Motion. A large car, according to the EPA, like I said. Did I say that? Yes, I did. And it's a very, very nicely sculpted, beautiful sedan. And it has a 2-liter engine that is turbocharged, inline 4. And I will be comparing this car in seconds, and maybe even starting now, with this also very attractive car, 2022 Mercedes-Benz C300 4Matic. 4Matic. So we got all-wheel drive sedans here, huh? And they you know, technically these, the one on the right, the Mercedes-Benz is a compact, and it looks compact, sort of. And on the left side, the Volkswagen is a larger car. It's considered a large car, but I would call it, I don't know, to me it's more of a larger midsize, but I mean the classifications these days are getting so confused and mixed up and everything else. Suffice it to say, it's a little bit bigger car. But in every other aspect, these cars are very, very similar to each other. They have a same purpose in life, and that is to transport 4 people, maybe 5 in a pinch, very comfortably, no matter what the weather, with great performance and economy. And they do this by using their own respective engineering platforms. Mercedes and Volkswagen have both been battling with each other, not really in America, but across the world, as far as who builds for the money a better sedan. And especially this category is not a pure sports sedan, but a certain amount of performance is expected out of both of these cars just because of their nameplate. And they also are expected to be comfortable and roomy and have all kinds of the latest technology for safety, all that kind of stuff. And I think they both are very successful in this regard. But what's wild to me is how similar the engine and drivetrains are, but they don't feel the same when you're driving. It's very different. So first of all, let's take a peek under the bonnets and let me show you what I'm talking about. Oh, I say, here's fun. We have, like I said before, we have a real interesting situation in that we have two 2-liter engines that are turbocharged, competing against each other, but that's where things get really, really different. We'll start with our Volkswagen here. Now, in what I consider to be the way things are going these days, first of all, I got to point out there is no engine cover on this engine because Volkswagen is redesigning them, and for some reason, rather than leave the old one on there, they decided to remove it, which is kind of interesting because it gives us a better view of the engine. But be sure to understand, if you were to go buy this car, it will have a beautiful engine cover that I'm now wearing as a hat. But this is the traditional way people are doing it now. They're mounting our four-cylinder, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're mounting it transversely. On the front part here, we have our intake system, and on the back is our exhaust manifold along with our turbocharging. And there, right here, there's your air box feeding into this beast, and this engine produces 300 horsepower and 295 pounds of feet in the torque department. Very impressive numbers for a very small engine, right? Well, so what would you think? For more money on the car to my right over there, we're going to look at in just a second, same displacement, but it's a Mercedes-Benz engine, right? You would think more horsepower, wouldn't you? Well, you'd be wrong. The Volkswagen, $12,000 less in price, and a little bit more room on the interior because it's a slightly larger car, has 300 horsepower out of this engine. And compared to our Mercedes, which only has 255 horsepower and the exact same torque figure, 295 foot-pounds. So everything's different. The engine is actually mounted fore and aft instead of being mounted transversely. And oh man, little motors are turning on and off by itself. How does it do that? But over on this side, here's our exhaust system and our turbocharging side to the left here. And to the right, we have our intake system with a central feed here to our air box. And look at the size of that air cleaner. Woo! Beautiful. Coming all the way around the back here. So we have a situation where Mercedes is actually being outpowered by Volkswagen, even though the engines are the same size. Interesting stuff, huh? Now, how do they drive? Well, it's real interesting because they are different, and I'll get into that while I'm driving the cars. But this particular Mercedes-Benz has a 9-speed automatic transmission, whereas our Arteon has a 7-speed automatic. So 2 fewer gears, but which gets better mileage? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute too. But they're very close to each other. I believe, I'm just talking off the top of my head, I think the Mercedes gets slightly better mileage, but we'll, EPA rated anyway, we'll see what I actually get. But, so there you go, folks. I mean, transverse mounted, all that stuff, and yet the same exact engine is dropped in, well, engine design basically is dropped in the Arteon, but they do it completely different. They mount it transversely, and it produces more power. And the same torque for both cars. How about that, huh? Let's move on. Let's learn more. Here we have more virtuosity with the Volkswagen Virtual Cockpit on our Arteon. And as usual, you can see we have a flat screen that is mimicking the look and appearance of an analog instrument cluster. On your left-hand side, you got your tachometer. Whee, whee. And on your right-hand side, of course, you have your speedometer. And in the middle, you have a variety of choices of different things you can look at. You can display the map. We can do that. There we are. There's our map display. And what else we got down there? We got, oh, that's interesting. Oh, isn't that? Oh, you can zoom in and out with your thumb. That's cool. Then we have our radio selection. Then we have our cell phone, vehicle status, driving data, 380 miles to empty, which is pretty good considering I've already burned about eighth of a tank. And there we go. So what may you ask are our options as far as this instrument cluster of all virtual nature can do for us when it flickers. Stop the flickering. Yeah, well, can't be helped. Well, if we press car on the central stack here, we have the digital cockpit, and we have auto, which I think will primarily suit whatever driving mode you're in, because here's different driving modes, and if we go to like sport, it changes to that. We go to custom, it seems to stay the same as your sport setting, and then we go to eco, which is a lovely light blue, and then comfort, which is a really ugly yellow. That's weird. Huh. Somebody doesn't like comfort in that particular Volkswagen situation. But then if we hit classic, not much changes really. So view 1 is this, which has your distance to empty and all that stuff. View 2 gives you route guidance, which I guess in both sides it looks like. You can probably adjust. Oh, you can absolutely adjust this. You can do, well, it doesn't seem to be doing any of this. I'm pressing the button here. You'll see this what I'm doing. Let's go to view 2. And that, first of all, I got to change. I can't stand that yellow, so I'm going to go to normal, which is blue. There, okay, I like that better. Now then, now that we're in the blue section, we go back to view 1, and that basically what the views do is change the access of the information you have within those faux analog instruments. Yeah, that's what it does. Huh, interesting. I was expecting some kind of dramatic change, but the most dramatic change you get is when you just change your driving mode. So that's the way they do that. As we Arteon our way right, let me show you the main screen here, which is quite an attractive thing. You got your primary, what you're used to as far as car, application, navigation, all the rest. Let's go up to navigation here. And there's a compass, and we hit that. No destinations selected are available, but if we hit here, we'll get the map, or we did. What happened to our map? Huh, I was able to easily access the map earlier. I don't want to do that, so, Right, let's go to media. No devices are connected. We go to radio, and there's our pre-selections. Well, it's some volume, we'll turn that down. And I want to get to the main map display, and I go to, there was just a thing earlier when you, I have to show you the magic bits because I do enjoy the magic bits. We'll go back to navigation like that. And why it is there, what does this do here? That's not it. That's not going to do us any good. Well, there's a way to easily access the map. Display map and instrument cluster, we'll turn that off. There we go. Okay, as long as it's displaying it in the instrument cluster, as I showed you earlier, it won't do it here. Now watch, here's the miracle of the Volkswagen center stack. If I just get near it, the controls come up. But you back off, they disappear. I think that's good. And as I mentioned, it could potentially have drawbacks depending on how gesture heavy you are in your discussion when you're in the car. But anyway, a nice clear landscape mode type of situation. The screen size is, I'd say, roughly 8 inches, 8.5 maybe. It's actually a good size for this interior. It works well. It's a little on the low side in that you have to look down quite a bit to find it. And I don't believe this car, this car is not blessed with a heads-up display, which I'm very happy that it's not blessed with that. So anyway, I go south here a little bit, and here we have our climate control area, which is very straightforward and I keep saying, that seems to be the one area that is getting more and more standardized between manufacturers. There's a lot of other parts of the car that you can't easily operate right from the get-go, but for some reason, climate is one of the ones they all have agreed upon how that needs to look. So everything is normally accessible and all these things. We go down, we have a conventional shifter right here. And we put her into drive like that. And then to go to manual mode, we kick it over here. And then, of course, you have your paddle shifters at that right there. Little guys they are. But they're very useful and convenient. And then we go to reverse, and we have this wide variety of visual going on here. Now, what the heck does that do if we do that? Well, we can kind of move around. Front, back, side. You can look at the side, this side, and your rear. How about that, huh? That's a little bit different than what you're used to on most cars these days, but I like it. It's good. It's reasonable. Back into park we go, and if you look down here into our what I would call your flanking instrumentation around your shifter, we got your mode select, which is in modern Volkswagen practice, you always get a little graphic that changes to match whatever you're in. Like this is economical, eco, so there's your eco bit of foliage that you have on there. Then comfort is just, I'm so relaxed on this Pacific Palisades drive. And then we go to normal, which is just boring. Then we go to sport, and all of a sudden we find ourselves on the racetrack. And then we go to custom, which for some reason is taking you straight to the Northern Rockies, complete with wind machines. Don't do that when I'm speaking. So anyway, those are all the great thing about custom is you get the opportunity, I believe, adjust. There we go. This is my favorite setting by far because you can literally adjust what you want each parameter to do that these mode settings do. In sport, you can go get normal and sport. I'll leave it on sport. Drivetrain is on sport. I want to put that on normal. ACC, automatic climate control. No, I don't know what ACC is right off the bat. A climatized country club. No. Well, we'll leave that on normal since we don't know what it is. Light assist, normal. And then, even climate control. Do they have a sports setting for climate control? No, or they have an eco. We'll go with eco. That's much better. But if you have the custom setting available to you, that's great because it can allow you to really pick and choose from each particular aspect of the car's operation to suit your driving style. That's excellent. We're all for that. Thank you for that. That's good. All right, anyway, so here's your mode selector, of course, and your this turns off your automatic stop-start, which seems to work very good on this car. You have now this is parking by itself. I don't even introduce that. And here's our cameras once again, which can, I think you can access pretty much any. I don't know if you can access, I have to check it when we're driving. See if you can access it while you're puttering along. That would be fun. That would be different. Okay, and then a little further back we have your park brake is all the way back here. It's the electronic variety. And you got your open and shut cup holder device here. And incidentally, here is your charger for your smartphone. If you have a QI equipped smartphone. Now the thing about that is, since I have a case on my phone, you got to pull this little insert out that I am unable to pull out right now. Well, trust me when I tell you, it didn't charge as long as that little rubber piece is in there, but you just gently lift that out and put the phone in if you have a case on it that's fairly thick like mine, and it will charge, and it does a good job. So you got that going for you. Then over here to the steering center, we have, on the right side, we have that central computer that I was playing with. There it is, up and down and all that. You barely have to touch this, by the way. It's incredibly sensitive. View, which gives you, what the heck is this do? ACC. What's that? What is ACC? Does anyone know? Activate the main switch. I'm lost. Cruise control. We don't need to operate that at the moment. Side assist. Now, side assist is just a form of a blind spot monitoring, I believe. And rear traffic alert, want that on. Front assist, want that on. And here we go back. And that's just plain strange to me, in my view. All right, well, enough with view. Let's go back to, here's a different one. Please connect to cell phone. I guess you can read messages there or something. I don't know. That's not conducive to driving as opposed to that which is conducive to driving. And apparently I am in sport mode right now, which is the same. Actually, as you know, I'm in the custom mode and the instrumentation reflects the same as the sport mode, which is a red theme. Got all that? I hope so. Over here, we have our cruise control center. As usual, we have your ability to, since this is adaptive cruise control, to adjust your following distance between the car in front of you and you. And it's pretty much straightforward. And this is a volume control for the radio, you see. And what else to show you? Over here we got the light array, which is, these are getting more and more minimal, I have learned over time. And with some of these cars that have an automatic dimming system, what you have is a problem when it comes to, there's certain circumstances. For example, with the Mercedes C300, I had to turn off the auto light system to go to manual lighting in order to turn the high beams on when going down my driveway. Isn't that amazing? If it's set on automatic, it will not let me put the high beams on when I'm going down my driveway. And I have a driveway that requires high beams because there's deer that can jump out and stuff. So I found that bizarre. Now, the Arteon, I don't know if it does that. Hopefully it does not do that. But when it comes to the headlights, I don't know. Let's see here. Yeah, it does have an auto. As you can see, there's the automatic mode. And now the brights are on by themselves. And see, that's every time you turn on the brights, you got to decide what you're going to do. But its default position is the automatic position, which will dim the lights on its own. And I think we need a little more control over that, like perhaps a dedicated switch is my favorite way of running that. So what else? Well, let's go aloft. As you can see, we don't really have a panorama as much as a really big sunroof, moonroof, roof. And you got your shade, see, for the sun, but you still see through it, but it stops the sun. That's kind of nice. I like that. As you can see, the profile and the trim selection that they've got going on here is very, very, would I say minimalist? Yeah, I would say that. I would also say tasteful, classic almost, because it just doesn't have a lot of frippery and stuff like that. You know how I feel about the frippery. I can't abide the frippery. And here we have the upholstery is a very, very nice ventilated and heated unit, which I'm not sure. I'm going to put it at during the editing process. I'll tell you exactly what this is, because I'm dealing with cars right now. So many have leather and so many have an synthetic leather, and synthetic leather seems to be taking over because there's things about it that manufacturers really like. And from an environmental standpoint, I don't know if one's better than the other, to be real honest with you, because I've always wondered with leather. I mean, we already kill cows anyway for food. So I was assuming some of that leather goes into cars, but it may not be that way at all. It may be a completely different kind of cattle. You never know until you ask the people that make this stuff, and they'll explain it to you. So anyway, headroom is good, legroom is good. The seats themselves are quite comfortable. And let's go to the back, shall we? I've been waiting to do this. Yeah, I know the engine's running. I started. Now, something I want to show you guys. This is very important. Right here, what we have is no window frames. I'm not a fan of that. I've never liked it for some reason. And I wonder if the fact that the car seems to be louder on the interior at speed compared to the Mercedes may have anything to do with the fact that it has window frames, lack of window frames. And the window frames on the Mercedes help tighten it up a little bit and keep it quieter. Is that possible? I don't know. But I want you to feast your eyes on this leg room. Oh my gosh, there's so much. And it's much bigger and much roomier in the rear than the Mercedes, obviously, because it's a bigger car, physically larger vehicle. But it's nice. You have a monster, a helms deep of a drive shaft tunnel in. That thing's huge. So if you do have 3 people back here, which you can fit 3 people back here, they're going to have to splay their legs. Let me show you. I've now splayed. You see, you don't want that. It's better if you have a flat floor, but you can't do that when you have a drive shaft running the rear wheels, as this car does, and still maintains a low profile. So you got that fastback roof line, and yet headroom is quite good. You got plenty of legroom, plenty of headroom, and let's check out the wonderment. Hang on now, this is so important. I can't stress it enough. Oh yeah, that's good. That's very good. I like it. It's an excellent armrest. And then you have, there's a ski through, by the way, to put your skis through there if you want to. And here we have our climate control system for the rear seat. You got heated rear seats, which is really nice. And then also a, wow, you can adjust. Look at that. You can adjust the temperature for the rear seat. This thing has so much room back here. This is where it really becomes a big car. And I can see why they call it a large car, the EPA people, because the back seat is really, really roomy. I mean, my gosh, it's nice. And you got these really expansive and beautiful map lights up here. Look at there, look at there. That's great. So all in all, this is a very, very good back seat. And especially if you have people that have difficulty getting in and out of vehicles, like your grandparents or whatever, people like me, you have a pretty good wide door opening as well. So that's good. I like that. Now then, we should have a look. Oh, look at what I found on the ground. There's a whole story behind that. It fell out of my pocket. Why it's there, I'm not going to tell you. Let's have a look at the trunk, because we're enjoying looking at things. Look at this. Power operated. And it's not a trunk. It's a hatchback. Who knew? I'm as surprised as you are, because here I was walking around this car thinking it was, in fact, a trunk, a sedan. I called them both sedans. This is not a sedan. This is a hatchback. That's amazing. Look at the space back here. That is enormous. And you lift this up right here, and there we have our sound booster, and we also have our temporary spare tire, a Continental, and our jack and everything else all at the ready. So they're trying to just win me over. Since I've said so many nice things about the C300 Mercedes, boy, I tell you, this is nice. And you have 60/40 fold down plus the ski through, so that's the creme de la creme as far as versatility is concerned. So excellent marks on this trunk area. Woo boy. Trunk, see, I still think it has a trunk, and it's a power hatch. Well done, Arteon. Big points to the Arteon for that. I am very impressed with that. And something I neglected to show you earlier, but is definitely worthy of we have these massive Continentals up here, and these wheels are beautiful, and the brake rotors, calipers, pretty massive overall. And what's our size here? I'm looking, look with me. 20s, 20-inch wheels, huge 20-inch wheels. So that's one of the reasons it looks like it has 20-inch wheels, as it does. Alrighty then. So there's your Arteon interior. Nice, huh? I'm impressed. Overall, I can't believe, I honestly have to tell a tale of myself. Is I had no idea this thing was a hatchback. I didn't know. The lines fooled me. Oh, Volkswagen, that's points. That's points for you. No, I said Volkswagen, didn't it? That must have done it. Cancel, but thank you. I'm getting beat. This car's just beating the crap out of me right now. It's having so much fun with me. All right, well, there's your Arteon. A very impressive car, inside and out. Just had heard, if I kept outtakes, which I don't because that's why they're called outtakes, the argument I've been having with this car, it kept popping up and doing all this stuff while I was trying to tell you what the instrument cluster choices were. And I was almost about to take a screwdriver and rip the thing apart. I was getting so angry at it. But I think I have it quieted down for the moment. So let us attempt to look at the various genres that are available to you in the instrument cluster, i.e. your gauge setup. This is the normal one, which I consider normal because it looks just like analog gauges that Mercedes used to have. But you have choices. Yes, you have choices. Let's go with understated. There, how's that? Do you like that? And you always have access to your central commands as far as the computer you can put in the middle, I think. But I'm so angry at this car right now for what it did to me when I first tried to shoot this sequence that I'm going to just minimalize all of this. But anyway, that's your understated. And then we have sport. Look out for sport. Wah! Look at that incredible tachometer action down there. I imagine there's your boost, which is not doing anything at the moment. Your oil pressure. To your left, you have your G-forces over there. So this is for your sporty driving. If you're so inclined and you want to do that, that's there for you. Then we have the classic, which is where I'm at. Navigation. You see, there's you can see the map, and the entire thing is covered with the map. Then you have your digital speedometer up here, and other information. You still have your gas gauge, your outside temperature, 37. Wow, it's getting cold out there. And now, what else? Do we have anything else to show you? Assistance, I don't want that. Service. Anyway, let's go back to classic, shall we? That's the most interesting and easy to use in my opinion. But anyway, this is how you do this. You have information in various places on this. You can, there we go. For example, the attention suspension is, the attention assist is suspended because I hate the computer in this car, like I hate evil in general. And then we have our fuel consumption, which is gallons per hour, because this is a helicopter, in case you didn't notice, and you need to know these things, how much fuel you're burning per hour. And then we have our eco display to tell us how you're doing, eco-wise. Yeah, I'm wasting fuel, I know. And then we have your basic miles per gallon, which is very interesting. And your entire rating since I started this, which is 0.9 miles per gallon. And then we have your trip odometer, which is the thing I use the most. So there you go. That's your basic outlay of all this stuff. And like I say, in these other genres, you can use the trip computer. Everything I just showed you basically is available for you. So that's cool. Now on the left side of the steering, we have, this is what I was using. This is like I press the home button. That's how you got there. And you actually sweep your thumb right across it. You don't actually press down on it when you're going up and down inside. It's kind of bizarre when you first see it. Down below that is your cruise control area, which includes your adaptive cruise control, of course, and your distance between, and your setting of your speeds and everything else. To the right, we have this particular...
Off the stage, like spin.
I just turned on something.
And they weren't
Oh, I know why, because I was.
So one day he was at rehearsal.
Yeah, that's Seth Rudetsky with his Broadway show, by the way. In case you're a fan of Broadway, you should listen to Seth. Seth knows all. And what else do we have? Oh, you have your star here. You press that, and it gives you a bunch of different options to do all kinds of different things. It's basically a custom setup. And it also has your favorites somewhere, but I'm not going. Oh, no, that's actually what my radio's doing right now. Jeez. This is your interaction with your vocal commands. I would stay the hell away from that if I were you. Our shifter is right up here. It's this stalk right here that you might initially mistaken for. That's usually the size and location for windshield wipers, but not on this one. That doesn't do that. This is your park is the button here on the end, and then you reverse and drive. There you go. And it also tells you what gear you're in, which is nice. And naturally, you have your paddle shifters for when you decide to go into manual mode. So that's nice. We like that. That's very good. Now we move on to our massive portrait oriented touchscreen. And here we have, I turned off the heads-up display there. I'll turn it on. Can you see that? Can you see your heads-up display there? It's not telling you much of anything right now, but I think you can adjust it. I'm sure you can. But anyway, let's do this. That's my favorite adjustment. Trunk blocked. What the hell is that? There we go. Then you have a bunch of other. These are, when you hit this, you basically get some of your most basic commands, like your lane keeping assist, your active steering assist, your electronic stability program, manual shifting, all kinds of stuff. A Parktronic, tow away alarm, you name it. It's all there. And you go back to home here, and this is like a home screen that will determine where you want to orient this massive screen in terms of your needs. Like navigation right there. Looky there. It's a huge clear screen in 3D format. And there's our little car right there. That's us. There we are. Hi. Wave everybody. Hello. How are you? Hey, go back here. And then you have your phone. Then you have your radio. Then you have media if you're interacting with your media there. And comfort. Now, what do we have here? Well, you have ambient light choices. What color do I want? Let's do green just because it's weird. I'm going to weird out. They're picking this car up tomorrow, so I'm going to weird out whoever's going to have it next. I'll change if I could go this purple color, or how about this one here? This is good. I like the green the best. That's nice. That's fun. I enjoy the effects. Wait a minute, what is effects? Multicolor animation. Oh, that's already turned on. Warning when exit. Anyway, that's what comfort is. And then you move on, and you got information, which includes consumption of given every different parameter you can imagine. It will explain your fuel consumption to you. That kind of thing. And then we have smartphone integration, which I never do, ever. And we drop down in this strip here. It's almost like what some Apple MacBooks had until they got rid of it because people hated it. But here's our dynamic control. And we have Eco, and we have Comfort, and we have, of course, Sport. Now, for some reason, Sport is yellow, but when you go to the Sport cluster, it's red. Figure that one out. Then with Sport Plus, and then Individual. Now, Individual I find fascinating because, well, that's good. It doesn't do what I want it to. I love it when it doesn't do that. But that's where oh, wait a minute. I got it. Sorry. Oops. Here we are. We're working on it. There we are. Now, this is real nice because you can do different settings. Like for drive, Sport, I don't want it on Sport, I want it on Comfort. And then steering, I want on Sport, yes. And electronic stability control, I want Comfort. So, and then we have sound. Sound Sport Plus. Let's put it on comfort, and I bet it makes it quieter when you're under power, no doubt. But anyway, that's all that. And you've seen most of that. Okay, that's basically, you're getting the gist, right? Let's play with this one. Now this, look at what it's done here. It's taken this car over here and distorted it dramatically. And over here, it's not quite as distorted. But look at the size. These are some bits of poplar that have been chopped down from a dead tree, various sections. They're basically just little, about 18-inch tall things. And look what it's done. It has distorted them to the point that they're huge forests in front of us that we can't go to. And select a view by touching the display. What? Okay, here we go. Here's your left side of the car. Look at that, it zooms in. Right side of the car. Okay, front of the car. Now see, that's more like what they actually look like, those things. And then we have, what is that? Automatic. That's the one that it automatically goes to. And then of course we have the rear, which, yes, I'm trying to do this. There we go. And there's the rear of the car, you see. So, as with so many these days, you get all kinds of, nice adjustments. I don't know what half of this stuff is just beeping at me because it doesn't like me. Well, the feeling's mutual, I'll tell you. So, let's go back here, and further down we have, it's getting dark in here, maybe I'll put some lights on for you. There we go. Down here in this, watch this first of all. Look at it, look at the way that closes. Is that not Mercedes or what? Look at that. In here you'll find, on this side here, I'll explain this in a minute. We have storage. We have two USB-C interfaces for you. And this here is where you charge your phone. Now, normally it has this lovely, lovely surface pad on it, but I took it out because it wouldn't charge my phone because my phone has a case on it. But if you remove this and put it here, as I have done, then it charges my phone just fine, no problem at all. And then when all your charging is done and all your consumption of beverages is done and everything's done, you have the pleasure of doing that and watching it rise up. Here's another main compartment with two more of your USB-C interfaces and a little bit of storage area for you. Not great, but good. And there you are. Here's our Napa Aniline or whatever. Oops, now I got a camera shadow. Camera shadow is my curse. It really is. There we go. But this is extremely comfortable. You can see the side bolsters here that are massive. And it's naturally heated and ventilated for your comfort. And look, you can see as it's getting darker, it's getting greener, all this trim. This is beautiful stuff here. I don't know if this is actual carbon fiber. It probably is, knowing it's Mercedes. But they've done a really interesting thing with the decor of how they've laid out this. It's very unique to Mercedes. And yet, these are great. This is almost like a cowl the way they used to do when there were instruments in here. But they're just vents now. So, oh yes, something else very important to show you. Over here is the Mercedes, as is their wont, puts the adjustment for the seats right up there on the door. And that's kind of nice because if you have trouble accessing it when it's way down here, it's right there and you can do everything. You can recline, whee! You can raise this up in the front, your thigh support. You can move the whole thing up or back. Excuse me. So there you go. And here's your memory functions and everything else. And they also put the heating and the ventilation. Let's ventilate. There we go. Did you hear that? Sounds like a vacuum cleaner. Holy cow. They're serious about their ventilation. So there we are. Very, very picturesque. I would describe it as such anyway. And go back to navigation, shall we? Nah, I'm going to leave it there right now. No, I know what we'll do. We'll go to
We'll go to, yeah, let's go navigation. All right. So there we are. That's your front. And of course, you do have your controls here, which are very annoying. This is a slide control, and I'm going to attempt to now close the sunroof, the panoramic. And there, it's working. I'm getting the hang of this car. I've had it several days. And there we are. And we still have our green effect on there, selected by me. And what do you say we go check out the back seat, huh? Let's do that. Access. We're all about access. Nice. This is pretty good. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice again. This is pretty good access for a compact car. It's not bad at all. The door's almost 90 degrees. The seat's back quite far, and yet looky here. I have pretty good seat room here, leg room rather. You do have an enormous drive shaft tunnel, but that's to be expected when you have a all-wheel drive, or in this case, a 4MATIC all-wheel drive system. And how can I turn on these lights here? How about that and that? There we go. So, as you can see, we have the continuation of the very, very nice color scheme that we have in our leather-clad Mercedes. Events are like real cool kind of things that you can play with there if you get bored. And then we have our trim. And this is something else that's weird about this car to me. Look at here. The window won't come down. What the hell happened? Hang on. Let's see if I can get some accessory action going here. Sorry about that. Let's try it now. There we go. Oh, the window goes all the way down. Yesterday it didn't. It only went down about halfway. I don't know what the heck happened yesterday. I think that was operator error. But let's test out the all-important, how we do this here. Oh, sorry. Do we have a trunk through? We actually have the entire thing folds forward beautifully so that you can access the rear if you need to for additional cargo area. But right here is a very nice armrest. It's at a very good height. You have a lot of support in these seats, and you have a little bit of side bolsterage, which is surprising, but being this kind of sporty nature. You want to see something weird, check out these headrests. They look like something. Did you see the new remake of Lost in Space and the new robot? You know, Danger Will Robinson? It looked kind of like that. Reminds me of that, anyway. So, very good room, very decent headroom, and look what else you got right here. You got here your moonroof, which I think you open with this thing here. There we go. Look what I've done here. So your rear seat passengers and your front seat passengers have this wonderful panorama spaciousness as we gaze at the twilight. It's very nice. So, how does this compare to the Arteon? Well, it's much more opulent. It's not near as roomy primarily because the Arteon is a larger car. But the Mercedes has definitely got more fanciness to it. And they're both good cars, but if you're regularly going to be carrying passengers in the back seat, as nice as this is, you'd have more room in the Arteon, and that might be your deciding factor more than anything else, if you were to compare these two vehicles, which I'm not. All right. Neato, though. They sure do a nice job of making everything look pretty cool. But then again, this is Mercedes-Benz. Something else we really need to highlight on this C300. First of all, your trunk is electric, of course. But look at the size of this thing. This has got a lot of room in it for a compact. I mean, you can get some major league suitcases back here. No problem. And you got this little doodad right here. You pull this. Look at that. Huh? Neat, huh? How about the other side? Oh, it got stuck on the seat in front of it. But
As you can see, that's super handy, and you can completely 100% access your rear seat area to expand your cargo even more. And then here we have, underneath here, got a lot of storage. There's your tow hook device, or also your recovery hook, if you will, if you have to get towed. There's some kind of, I believe that you can set that up, and you have a little containerized cell if you come across a possum in the road that is injured, and you want to put it in there on top of here like a little cage, so it'll be, I don't know what that's for. But I don't see anything having anything to do with taking care of your spare tire situation. So I'm just assuming there is nothing to do that with here. And certainly not a temporary spare or anything like that. But, yeah, it's Mercedes. They can do whatever the heck they want, and they will. But, man, is that roomy. That's a nice feature. And here, of course, we have the Sotozeros, the Pirellis. And this is the reason you don't have spares, because these are run flats, which I have to admit the ride quality of run flats has gotten considerably better than when they first appeared. It's a perfectly reasonable tire, except if you really trash it on something, you got problems because you got nothing, you got no spare. But that's, call the auto club. You own a Mercedes, come on. And tire size is 225/45 R18, so these are 18-inch wheels. And these are really excellent all-season type things, so that you should be able to go right ahead with your 4MATIC all-wheel drive system in bad conditions. And they are called winter tires, so that's good for all of us in the Northeast. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get adjusted. You must become adjusted to the car when you're driving said car. All right, so this is Arteon land, the land of Arteon. I am Arteon. What a great name. I don't know where that comes from, but I like it. I like it a lot. So we have a very nice screen here. Look, you get it. Look at that. I am magic. If you didn't realize that, watch this. See, I just bring my hand by it. Now that's either good or bad, depending on how much you talk with your hands. If you're a very gestive and gesture-ish, emotional person, you could just trick it on all the time. Well, I kind of like that, actually. But anyway, the screen itself is fantastic. I really like the navigation screen on this Arteon. It is it's exactly what you want. It's clear, concise. The interface with the navigation as far as setting your destinations, all that, pretty much average, which is very high. The standard now for all of these things, they're pretty easy to use. The area that they're really competing with each other is if you can do it by speaking, and how well that works. But I don't do stuff that way in cars. I'm not James T. Kirk talking to the ship. Computer, lock on and analyze the following automobiles. Brakes are good. This has very good driving dynamics. It's not the quietest car in the world, but it is reasonably quiet. It shares a lot in common, though, with the Mercedes C300 in that this little turbocharged four-cylinder is just not the smoothest thing in the world. And I mean, I'm talking about a very, very high standard here. All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do set. There we are. Our cruise control is now set. And the hell is this thing? travel assist. So I guess it's going to start steering the car. Is that? Yes? Looks that way. It looks like there's lane centering involved. So our Volkswagen virtual cockpit is giving me virtual information about virtually anything. So you can just tell you got a 4-cylinder engine. It just, all the cues are there that tell you this is not a V6 or something like that. Yeah, that is lane centering that's activated. And it's doing a little bit of the weave, but not too bad, but some. I just don't think these systems work as good as they do. As good as they should do. Because there's just so much what I would call superfluous motion. I don't know how exactly they work, other than it's looking down the road with a camera. The camera can distinguish the lines in the road, and it is using that to guide the car. So essentially what you're at the mercy of is whether or not the people that painted the lines were good at it. If they weaved around a little bit, so shall you. And I think that's one of the problems of the back and forth thing that you see with so many of these lane centering systems, is it's using the information it's getting. And I think that's what GM's SuperDrive is trying to. We'll turn off the lane centering here. Hello, I'm turning you off. You don't want to go off, do you? Isn't that interesting? Why don't we go up here then? And then turn cruise control back on. No, it doesn't want to turn off now. Isn't that fascinating? Now, how are we going to do adaptive cruise? Do we see this car in front of me? Yeah, at the last second. It's almost like when you have it set at an interval, like say 2 car lengths or whatever for the car in front of you. It doesn't see the car in front of you until you get to 2 car lengths. That may be the whole key about why so many of these systems rush up on cars and then slam on the brakes. I've seen that. Actually, that's more the rule than the exception when most of the cars I've been testing lately. But what else can we say about the Arteon? Well, sir, there is a reasonable fair amount of road noise and a reasonable amount of wind noise. It's just not a real quiet car. It is not a real loud car either. It's just if we're talking about a middle of the road trim line and a car that costs like a middle of the road type of sedan cost, that's about where we're at. But it's not to me, this is supposed to be a bit of a premium car, and it's a $50,000 car. So I would expect a little bit better noise suppression than what we're actually getting. It's not terrible. Like I say, it's not bad. It's just there's a fair amount of it. And of course, you can drown all this out with stereo, which is very good on this car. Harman Kardon, in fact, both of them, your Harman and your Kardon, are activated in the sound system. And what else do I really like about this car? Well, visibility out of it is actually pretty good for this day and age, and especially the rear window. It has a larger rear window than a lot of cars these days, and that's very helpful. I mean, you got all the other bells and whistles as far as the 360 camera system and all that, but push come to shove, it's still good to be able to actually see out of the car. That comes in real handy. And it seems like it's very good at controlling the speed in the cruise control without being too overly. Well, I'm just being nice to it. To me, the big measure these days is how the adaptive system works and how well it is at seeing further down the road than you have it set for, so that when it sees traffic or it sees what can often happen when you're driving, the traffic has stopped for some reason, especially on one of these highways where people will be turning left, and for whatever reason there may not be an easy way to go around on the right hand side, so that you're going to have to slow down quite quickly in a short distance, and the car has to see far enough ahead to see that happening, so it can start to more gradually slow you down rather than just zoom up on it and then nail the brakes, which so many of them do. And I find it so annoying. Ugh. So, nice smooth road, still a lot of noise for a luxury car, but I don't know if they'd even call themselves a luxury car. I think they'd call it a sport luxury vehicle. But the ride is very well composed, and this is not a small car. That is one thing that is absolutely true. This is a lot bigger car than the C300 is, and it really reflects that the interior is very expansive. I mean, you feel it's like Volkswagen has really knocked it out of the park with their midsize and larger SUVs. Those things have so much space in them. They're fantastic in that regard. They're not bad in that they don't have a real bad thing about them, really. I mean, I've been the Atlas I have been very impressed with. I've seen quite a few of them too. Apparently I wasn't the only one. I have no idea what the reliability is on this Volkswagen or that Volkswagen or any current Volkswagen. I really can't tell you because I don't know. But Volkswagens have always been hit and miss. You get a good one and they're very reliable and very economical to own. But you get a bad one, you got problems. You got things you got to deal with all the time. Now the transmission, I think I started to talk about this until I got off on several tangents. But the transmission on this car is not as good as the transmission on the Mercedes. It's fine, it's good, but I mean the transmission on the Mercedes is kind of like the Ride. It's like a cut above everything else in the class. It's just really, really good. Where's BMW fit in? Where's Audi fit in? Depends. If you go head to head with those things in a direct class comparison, they're very different cars. Pardon me. They're for their, I believe a Mercedes customer and a BMW customer are very different people who want very different things out of a car. They both expect a lot. I mean, the cars have to deliver, or the companies will hear from them. They can be perstickety, and when they get a car that's so complicated and has regular irritating problems with the various electronics on board, that's a thing. The auto stop-start works great. And this is telling me I'm getting 30 miles per gallon. Am I? I'm skeptical about that, but if I am, wow, mazel tov. That's very good. All right. It's early in the morning, but there's no fog on dawning. Kind of surprising in a way. We've had a lot of fog lately, but then again, it was cold, and it is cold. It's 39, that's not cold. That's like a high temperature normally for this time of year. But, things are a bit, we call warmer. So the thing is, the portrait format, does it please you? It's such a big square up here. This is just such an enormous screen, and they're getting bigger and bigger, and pretty soon it's only a matter of time for the instrument cluster and the the central touch screen display will become one.
What mode are we in? What's our driving mode? Let's see here. Whee! Cars everywhere. Let's see. Sorry. Whoops. Sport Plus. Individual I really like, but you have to be parked in order to adjust the settings, as you know. But you can go, oops, you can go this way. Comfort. I require comfort. Yeah, this road right here is such a good test. Let's see if I can just open that. Open the, what is it telling me? What are you doing, you stupid car? Well, I'm trying to open the... I think we're going to wrestle for the rest of our tenure together, car, with this opening the sunshade. There's a little bit of squeaks around. One of the things about cold weather that's real good is it can really bring out squeaks and rattles if there are any. And there's actually a squeak in the driver's side rear door. But once the cabin warms up, I think it'll probably completely disappear. We'll see, won't we? Oh yes, we shall. There. Oh, that was interesting. Ah, that's nice. That works. See, we got a little more illumination in here for you. Now, again, we got some road noise, but it's very muted road noise. And there's a real problem. Let's say you get a cabin that is so quiet thanks to the glass that helps keep the noise down, the aerodynamics that keeps the noise down, all these different things. But then you have road noise that's coming up from the chassis. And if everything else is so quiet, the road noise becomes more pronounced in relation to the overall quietness of the cabin. And this is like a very acceptable and pleasant type of... the seat heaters are over here on the door, which I find awkward. Just to touch it, doesn't readily come to hand. Like, I don't know, maybe like right in here would be good to have it there. But there we go. I do like the overall feel of this chassis so much, because it has such a, it's that fine line between, you feel like you could just dart off in any direction you want, put the car wherever you need it very, very quickly while the car will remain flat. Especially during cornering, it's like very, very well dampened in terms of side-to-side motion and that kind of thing. But at the same time, it's a very comfortable ride. Very pleasing in its way. And I find that, do you find that interesting? I do. I find that laudable, actually. Welcome to Scotland. I didn't think I was driving that far. Boy, I'm a European and driving a European car in a European country. Sort of. Maybe not really. Maybe there is exaggeration. The braking on this car is also what you'd expect from Mercedes-Benz brakes. They're really good. Very, very easy to modulate, very progressive. All the things you need in brakes. Now we can get on a little bit here, and this car is very quick. It feels quicker than the Arteon, but the Arteon has much more horsepower. Which car weighs more? I'm going to look into that, because I can't see a huge difference in weight between the two cars, even though one car is larger. But you know, the buzzword nowadays on everything being built is high strength steel, and essentially what that means is lighter steel that's just as strong or stronger than the heavier steels they've used in the past. They're also more expensive,
these high-strength steels. And corrosion-wise, I don't know anything about the difference there. I think so much of that is purely in terms of how it's prepared and finished and that kind of thing, in order to ensure that you have a car you can drive in the Rust Belt, places that have winter. Now, since I'm in comfort, what's one up from comfort here? Just general sport. We'll try just general sport. It's saying for my entire trip this morning so far, I've been getting 21.6 miles per gallon. You got to always remember with these tests and what time of year, you got to notice, if you can, what time of year it is. If anyone tells you, anybody reviewing a car tells you they got X amount of mileage, that is based on a certain time of year, because the colder the weather, everything gets worse gas mileage, and electrics have less range. The cold zaps a lot of things, and that's one of the most interesting areas of advancement that they've done with electrics. Is that was a real problem with the early electric powered, full electric cars, and they've come up with all kinds of strategies to reduce that, but they can't get rid of that effect. I mean, it's still. For example, one of the things they try to do is they try to keep the lithium-ion batteries warmer than ambient temperatures. So there's that, and they expend some energy doing that from the battery, but not as much as you might think. And that helps with the keeping the battery up to temperature is a big help. But it's still not. It's not a night and day revolution. Big into autonomy, Mercedes-Benz, and yet they really don't have I think that autonomy is, for the time being, hit kind of a wall, that they've realized that they just don't have the computing power to make the car be at it where it really needs to be in terms of situational awareness. And it's going to be a while before they figure that out at a reasonable cost of production. I think they can, they can throw all their money into particular units, but we'll go this way. Whee! See how smooth that transmission is? I've noticed this for a long time with Mercedes. I don't know if they build their own transmissions. I don't think they do, but whoever builds their transmissions, they are nice. And a lot of that, back in the days when Chrysler was owned by Daimler, Daimler-Benz, Chrysler benefited from so many different things from that relationship. Just like Ford actually benefited a lot from the relationship to Jaguar and Land Rover. They picked up a lot of stuff from the engineers at these companies. All these car companies do. And they can use them. And I think Chrysler has a lot of the same suppliers that they used to, which is Mercedes-Benz related, even though they're no longer part of that company. But that has been such a benefit for that company and Mercedes in particular. But Mercedes, of course, gets the top shelf stuff. And they've really mastered. I'm unaware if Mercedes has ever even looked at CVTs, because they have advanced the standard automatic transmission so highly that in terms of, not just in terms of how smoothly it shifts, but in efficiency. Is this in fact where it says? Yes, it is. Oh, good. I know where I am. I know where I am. I know exactly where I am. We'll go by the school here. See the children getting ready for their Thanksgiving holiday. Hello, children. Oh, loose gravel. Oh, no. We don't like loose gravel. Ah, more road noise, huh? Well, we have to be gentle on Mr. Benz here. We don't want to beat the crap out of the car with the aforementioned loose gravel. Boy, the road noise, huh? It's really something. Went up dramatically. And here we're coming up to the school. Now, unlike a lot of vehicles I've been driving lately, it doesn't have anything that tells you that there is a school approaching. What car did I have recently that did that? I'm trying to think about that. May have been the Cadillac XT6, or I don't know if it was the Arteon. Could have been. Or was it perhaps the Acura Integra? Boy, I like that car. Alrighty. Bye, high school, middle school. Don't know what you are these days. There's a lot of controversy here in the country between various towns and school funding, and it's crazy.
Searching for a handle on the moment. I can't help you.
Well, you might well be confused by all this, but I'm going to help tell you the monetary side. The 2022 Arteon 2.0 SEL Premium R line with your 4Motion is loaded with stuff, and it costs $50,745. However, how about your Mercedes-Benz? Well, this particular sticker is not completely finalized, but it does in fact cost $62,270. So there's quite a premium for these two 4-cylinder turbocharged dudes that both have 4-wheel drive.
And I'm gonna be back to talk about them Rolexes.
So well, here we have two 2-liter engines. One has more power than the other. There's a price difference. They both have all-wheel drive, and they're both very, very German. So the question is, which do you want? I can't help you. But here, I'll leave you with a fight with a machine.
Oh, that didn't work. Wait a minute. There's so much that one of the things you discover about these things, this Mercedes, is everything is. There we go. Isn't that
Everything was the first recording mass released by Neutral Milk Hotel, at that point still largely an outlet for the songwriting
What
of
the
Jeff
hell
London
are you
instead of
doing?
a fully formed band.
Cancel. Go away. God, I have no idea what happened.
Okay.
Cancel. Go away. I swear I'll rip you out. I'll get a screwdriver and come after you. That hasn't happened since I've had this car. I've had it over a week.
The Driver is a 1978 American neo-noir crime thriller film written and directed by Walter Hill.
Turn off voice commands.